Yo guys, what's up? Axe, I'm back with another video today, and today we're going to be doing another tier list. Now, I bet you're wondering, we're doing another tier list. Not that much has changed from the last time I was doing my tier list. The only thing that's changed is this character, and it's not like that big of a change where I should make a new tier list, but we're doing something a little different. I've never done this in any of my tier lists before, and I'm going to be ranking all of these characters except for the top 20. The top 20 I'm saving for a different video because ranking the top 20 best characters in the game is really hard. I'm still going to obviously have them in the placements, but I'm not going to have them like ordered in the rankings. They're just going to be there. I'm not going to have them ordered, but from S to B plus, I'm going to have them all ordered because, you know, I feel like we kind of know where all of these characters are from my last tier list, and not that much has changed. The Spiral Abyss hasn't updated, so pretty much all the characters are in the same placement. But for right now, we're going to be ordering all of these characters, and I haven't done this before in a while, so we're going to speed run through a lot of these characters because we kind of all know where all these characters belong. But we're going to get rid of, like, we're going to fill out the top 10 through top 20 for a lot of the people who are wondering. It's going to be the same, and if you want more of an in-depth analysis on the top 20, I'll have a video coming out in the future where I'll order all of the top 20, and I'll say who's like number 20, who's number 19, who's like so on, all the way to number 1 to top 5, right? But if you want to know more about like my general thoughts on the top 20, you can watch my last tier list where I go more in depth about the top 20 characters and why I believe they belong there. But we're going to speed run through a lot of the top 20 characters in the game. So if you're coming here for the top 20, the top 20 is going to be already filled out like in a bit. Let me fill out all of these guys. I think all of these are obvious options for the current Spiral Abyss and how the meta is looking right now. But, you know, obviously when I create my new top 20 video, I'm going to have it more updated. I'm just going to have a more generalized top 20. I'm not going to count into the Spiral Abyss. I'm going to more count into like, alright, these are the top 20 characters in the game at any point in time. Let's say we have a bad Abyss for them or good Abyss. I still believe they are a top 20 character in the game. But these are my rankings for the top 10 characters in the top 20 characters. I think we all kind of know these people will belong in the top 20. These are like the obvious picks. Let me find the other people where they I think Yoimiya is also a top 20 character. I know a lot of people underestimate Yoimiya, but Yoimiya is definitely a character who belongs in the top 20 in my opinion. I think she offers so much, especially like all of these characters. They offer so much to the game. It's kind of hard to argue that they don't belong here, but you know, who else am I missing in the top 20 characters in the game? I think, is that it? Let me see. I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah, I'm definitely missing one. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Who am I missing? I think it's Venti. Yeah, Venti is also a really good character in the game. I do hear a lot of arguments, right? I'm just going to go over the two arguments that I want to point out in my next video when I rank the top 20. Is Sucrose better than Venti? Honestly, right now, I don't really have much analysis on Venti. I am mainly a Sucrose main. I like to use Sucrose a lot more than Venti. So, you know, right, obviously I have a bias on Sucrose, but when I make my top 20 character video, I'll have this more analyzed. Oh, I forgot to put Bennett in here. How did I forget Bennett? Bennett's really good. Oh, and Xingqiu. Am I missing? Oh, yeah. I think Kokomi's down here then. Right, that looks good. Oh, I forgot Zhongli too. Man, I'm just forgetting characters right now. I think, is that it? I'm definitely missing one character from the top 20. Who am I missing? It feels so obvious, but oh, Jean. Can't forget about Jean. Second best healer in the game, in my opinion. Alright, now that we have the top 20 filled out, we can actually rank all these characters. Right, first off, I think Goro is obviously an S tier. Goro, a great character in this game. Goro, I believe he is kind of undervalued, right? If you don't have an Artakido, if you don't have a Noel, if you don't have a Ningguang, if you don't have a lot of Geo characters, you don't find the value in Goro. But for people who do use Geo characters, Goro is a must-need character in the game. I cannot specify that enough. Goro is one of the best characters in the game and a Geo squad. He is pretty much Geo Bennett, and especially with the Constellation 4, and we're not going to go into much constellations, but I will bring them up as like a positive. It won't affect the ranking, but it does sway some people for pulling these characters. But Goro definitely sways people into, you know, wanting to pull for him if you're a Geo main with Artakido, Ningguang, or Noel. He's pretty much Geo Bennett, and being a Geo Bennett is not a bad thing. Let me tell you that, right? Next up, I got Beidou. I'm not too sure if I believe Beidou is necessarily better than Goro. I think she is a lot more usable, but there is a lot of situations where I'd rather, where Goro is more important on a team than Beidou is more important on a team. And I feel like I'd rank Goro higher than Beidou, but that's just my opinion. I feel like when you have a Beidou, she is very good on the team, right? She's like obviously gonna be your DPS or your burst DPS or your support DPS, whatever you DPS form you want her, or she can be the person who applies Electro, right? I think Beidou's really good, but on a team I find Goro more valuable. That's just my opinion. Razor, I think I have a high S minus here. Razor is a really great character, but he is kind of outdated in a sense, right? He can obviously do still really good damage, but you know, obviously when we have a character like Eula in the game, he is kind of underutilized, right? A lot of people are not going to use him. So when you have characters like these, if you have a Eula, you're obviously good to use a Eula, and especially when you are physical DPS that is not really good in the game. Like the only physical DPS who outstands their welcome is Eula, and Eula just pretty much deals so much damage that it kind of compensates for being physical. But next is her, right? I don't know where I necessarily put her. I think right now we're gonna leave her here. There's an argument made that she is better than Klee, right, if high enough constellations, but I'm not really counting constellations. Let's say you have a C2 her and a C0 Klee. I rather take the Klee in my opinion. Shenhe, I don't know if I think she's better than Goro, but I think right now I will put her ahead of Goro mainly because she reduces physical res and reduces cryo res, which is so important in the game. And especially since we have so many good cryo DPSs and cryo characters in the game, it's kind of hard for her not to be highly valued. In some of my previous tier lists, I did think she was a top 20 character, but right now cryo is not that good with this current Spy Abyss, so that's why I don't have her in the top 20. She's definitely a high S tier though. Diluc, I think he's on the lower end of the S tier. He is a very solid DPS. You can't go wrong with him, especially if like you're in like the mid game, and if you're end game, you're kind of like not the best option, but is a solid DPS. Used to be the best DPS in the game when the game first started, but he is kind of outdated, but being very basic kind of helps him out. Now, one of my controversial opinions, Yae Miko. Now, I believe Yae Miko is not as hyped up as a lot of people think she is. The reason why I don't think Yae Miko is that good compared to a lot of these other characters in the top 20 characters in the game, I think it's because of her uptime, right? There's a lot of cooldown time for her. I think her E is like, it's solid, but like she's obviously a DPS, right? Or a support DPS or burst DPS, but I feel like her cooldowns are not worth it, right? Someone like a Xing Lang, her cooldowns are not that long because, you know, you activate the burst and it's spinning for a long time, so like reduces the cooldown in a sense, if you know what I mean. But Yae Miko, you just do the burst and it's gone, right? It's just like a one-hit type of thing, like similar to like Eula, but Eula can be on field doing so much great DPS damage that I feel like Yae Miko is probably above Beidou but below Shenhe and Goro. As you can see, I value supports more than I value DPS. That's why I kind of have Goro and Shenhe above her. You can make an argument that Yae Miko should be right here. I think maybe I'll leave Yae Miko right here, but there is an argument made that Goro is better than Yae Miko just because of how much value he gives to a Geo team. But I'll leave Yae Miko right here just because she's in so many good meta teams currently in the game. Official, I think she is an S tier, probably like below Beidou. I'm not high on Official like most people are. She obviously applies Electro, but like I just don't see a lot of situations where you use her when you have a Yae Miko or like a Raiden or a lot of these other Electro characters. I feel like Official is just kind of like, yeah, she's there, she's a good option, but like there's better options. That's how I feel. Albedo, I kind of find her more valuable than Fischl. I like Albedo more. It gives you Elemental Mastery, it gives you Geo, really good on Geo teams. He is kind of a Geo character that can fit on a lot of teams. So I kind of do value him more than Fischl, but there's obviously an argument to be made. Fischl is better, but that's just my opinion, of course. Thoma, I think Thoma is the top of S- tier. I love Thoma. I cannot like understate how good Thoma is in the game if you need a shielder, right? Obviously the best shooter in the game is probably someone like a Zhongli or a Diona, right? Wait, I don't even have Diona here. I think Diona are arguably top 20 in the game, but currently not that good because of the new Spiral Abyss, because of the, you know, Crow enemies and all that. But Thoma, obviously one of the best shooters in the game. If you're using a Hu Tao and you don't have a Zhongli, I recommend Thoma. Thoma's is such a good game, so great in the game. It's just that like shield appliers are not that utilized in this game, so like he's in a very niche situation where it's like if you don't have a Hu Tao, you're most likely not going to use a Thoma. But since Hu Tao is like one of the best characters in the game, having a Thoma making them so relevant in the game with Hu Tao just makes him more valued, in my opinion. That's why I think he belongs in the high S- tier, because he's such a good support with one of the best CPS in the game. Noelle, I think she's definitely better than Diluc. She does such great damage like at low constellation. And I like when I'm talking about constellations for 4 stars, it's more realistic to get like a C2 Noelle than it is to get like a C1 5-star. So I think probably right here, a little bit better than Albedo, just because of how much damage she can do, and especially since we have a Goro in this in the game. Noelle's damage just goes up so high. But you can see what I mean when I value Goro so much, because like Noelle is not doing such crazy damage without Goro being a character in the game. That's why I value Goro so highly, right? Next up, Sayu, I think A+ tier. She's good, but I don't know. Like, to me, she's just like a fun character, but not in a character I'd use in any situation, because there's so many good animal characters in the game. Her being animal is cool, but like I'm not really recommending anyone to use Sayu. That's just my opinion. Keqing, I think she is I've seen some crazy Keqing gameplay, so I'd probably put her S-, a little bit above Razor. Razor has some pretty good damage in the game, but he is physical while Keqing is electro, which just kind of narrows her out. But you'd have to invest a lot into Keqing to make her a really good damage dealer. She obviously can do good damage, but I don't know how good she is. You know, I'm actually thinking about putting her higher. Let's see, her higher. I forgot her name. What's her name? She's the lawyer. I know all that. It's not Yanfei. But I think because she's pro, I'll put her in between. I'll put her right here. Razor's cool, but you know, physical damage dealing not that good when you have better options like Eula. Rosaria. Where would I put Rosaria? Rosaria is one of my favorite characters in the game. I've had her C5, hoping to get her C6 soon. She's definitely a character I utilize a lot. I've invested so much into her because I see her value in physical comps like someone like a Eula, and a very good cryo enabler. Gives you extra crit rate, which is always good. I think Rosaria is such a versatile unit. I think I put her right here. Rosaria is just so good in this game. I find her really good in this game. As you can see, I value supports very highly, and I feel like if you don't have Rosaria, definitely build her. Rosaria is such a good character in the game. Hard not to go wrong with her. She doesn't even have to be on the field that much. You just literally pop her E, you know, get some apply cryo, and then drop her ult, and like you're out of there, right? Really good character in the game. There's an argument to be made where she's not this high, but from my personal experience, she's been nothing but a great character when I played this game. Next thing is Kudrosara. Now Kudrosara is one of those characters where she's very hard to rank. Kudrosara is like one of these characters where I'm like, where would I put her, right? Because I think Kudrosara is a really good support, but I think I put her right here, right? Unless you have like super high constellations, I do not see a use for Kudrosara. I just don't see a situation where you need to use Kudrosara unless you have our super high constellations, which a lot of people don't have her constellations. She's not been on so many banners. She's not been in so many featured banners. If you have her high constellation, great. She's probably like S tier, right? Or a high S- tier. But if you don't have her high constellation, I think she's just kind of mid. She's good, but she's very clunky. She has a lot of issues. Her ult doesn't really activate the buff. I do not see a situation where you have to go through all this hassle just to use a Kujo-Sara. That's just my opinion. Ningguang, I think Ningguang is a little better than Keqing. Keqing's good, but like I find Ningguang being better when she has so many better supports like a Goro or Noelle if you use Noelle healer. I think there's better situations where Ningguang brings more value to a DPS on a team than someone like Keqing. That's just my opinion. Yunjin, I think that's her name, right? Yunjin. I forgot a lot of these characters' names. You know, knowing every single character's name in this game is pretty hard. But you know, Yunjin, I think she is like right here. Maybe right here. Yeah, I think right here. She kind of represents like Toma, right? Because Toma kind of goes like with the Hu Tao, right? They're very like good supports for each other, right? Toma supports Hu Tao so well, and I think Yujin, which I think recall her name, is such a good support for someone like Yaimiko and anyone who does normal attacks in the game. So having Yujin she's a very niche character. If you have a character who normal attacks a lot, she's very good. But you know, there's not a lot of characters in this game, and Yoimiya being a really good character kind of like increases her rating on this tier list in my opinion. But otherwise, if you don't have Yoimiya or anyone who can normal attack a lot, her value to you is not that good. Kaya, I think Kaya is like right here. Kaya is solid. He's definitely a character I like, but I don't think he's at the bottom of S- here. I think there's just better cryo options. Someone like a Rosaria just kind of is just better than Kaya in my opinion. Kaya can probably do more damage in some situations, but Rosaria, her cryo enabling is way better in my opinion. And especially since getting constellations with Kaya is nearly impossible, it's kind of hard for you to even like invest on Kaya and hope to get constellations, because you know, even getting C1 is pretty hard, while at least getting C1 for Rosaria is possible. It's realistic. Diona, probably the top of this tier. Is she better than Shenhe? I think she is better than Shenhe. Diana is such a good character in the game. I do not use her a lot, just because personally I find other characters to play better or more fun. But like, she isn't arguably deserving of any of these top 20 spots. You can make an argument that she's better than a Jean, a Mona, or like Aito, right? A lot of these characters you can argue that Diona is better than, and Diona is definitely a really good character in this game, but right now, this current Spiral Abyss is kind of holding her back with all these cryo enemies, so that's the only reason I have her down here. If cryo enemies weren't in the Spiral Abyss right now, definitely an argument for the top 20 spot in the game. But you know, moving on, Barbara, I do find Barbara a little bit better than than Sayu. But you know, Barbara's really good, but Barbara is the character where it's like there is situations where she can do good damage, which is not realistic, or be a good healer. But you know, those situations are very niche, where they're more niche than someone like a Toma or Yujin, so I just don't have her that high. Klee, I think Klee is probably right here. I find Ningguang better because like Klee, she's a DPS. She's a DPS foremost, right? Klee's very good as a DPS. She does really good damage, but she's very clunky, very slow, easily gets hit, gets stuck on animations. But someone like Ningguang, let's say she does get outdated as a DPS, which she has sometimes, right? She is not the best DPS in most situations, right? But she can opt out for a burst support, while someone like Klee, that is not very possible unless you have her high constellations, which getting a 5-star high constellations is not very likely unless you're a whale or you spend money or you get really lucky, right? So I think Ningguang provides better value as a support DPS than someone like Klee. Ningguang is just very versatile. She can be a support, she can be a DPS, she can just be off field for most of the time. Ningguang can just work better, in my opinion, on so many teams. She is kind of a support in a way as much as she is a DPS. Next up is Amber. I think Amber is probably B+. There are situations where she can be worked good with Hu Tao, but those situations are not ideal. Like there's so many better power supports, especially someone like Toma, where I'd rather have on the team than someone like Amber. Lisa, I think she is A tier. Lisa is very good in this game. In certain situations, since she's not good in every situation. I think a lot of these characters, even someone like Amber, has their situations where they can look good, but someone like Lisa, she's only good with physical comps, and since there's very little physical DPSs, she kind of belongs down here, and especially because we have so many better electro enablers, there's just so many better options. Chongyun, I think he's probably like top of A+ tier. Argument to be made in S-, but I think someone like Kai is better because Chongyun can be used as a DPS, but his situation where he shines the best as a support is probably against Abyss Heralds. But you know, Chongyun's alright. Like, he's just fine. He's a good, solid character in the game. I think Chi-Chi's probably top of A+ tier. Really good hero. I still use her on my Zhao team. You know, for cryo, what's it called? Shatter? I think that's what it's called. Where you just make everyone cryo, and you know, you just shatter, right? She's very good for applying cryo if you have her as a healer, right? A good healer, probably the best heals in the game, right? The best healing character in the game. If you build her right, very solid character in the game. Just overshadowed by better healers because being a healer and all you can do is heal is not that good when you have characters like Jean who can do more than healing, and Bennett who can do more than healing, and stuff like that. Especially like Noelle, she can also heal and she can do some solid damage. I forgot her name. How did I forget these names? I really like her as a character, but I don't know how I forgot her name. But I believe she is probably like better than Lisa. Does kind of good damage, a physical DPS in her own right, but you know, just not that good of a physical DPS. I just, so many better characters I'd use instead of her. I use a Chongyun, I use a Kai, I use a Razor over her. That's pretty much all I have to say. She's just not him. She's just not that character. Traveler, I put her top of A tier. This is just encountered to all the travelers. I think Electro Traveler is obviously the best traveler as a support. I think he's the Electro Traveler. Like, if Raiden didn't exist, Electro Traveler would get a lot more love. But you know, Traveler's just like, he's cool. I can understand why people love him, especially since he's the character you start off with. But you know, once you start getting to pulling all these other characters, I think he just loses his value. Aloy is like, I don't know, worse. I think she's the worst character in the game in my opinion. Aloy, you can't get her constellations. You know, she does cryo, but like, there's so many better options for cryo. Chongyun's better, Chi-Chi's better than cryo. Aloy is just not that good in my opinion. I think there's just better situations and better teams you can use with Amber than you can use with Aloy. Obviously this is my opinion, but I feel like Amber is just a little bit better. We're comparing trash right now, trash to trash. Aloy and Amber are both pretty not that good in the game. Obviously you can probably defeat Spiralibus with both of them, but no one cares about these two characters, right? Me saying Aloy is worse than Amber is not a controversial opinion, or me saying Amber is worse than Aloy is an opinion no one really cares about because a lot of people don't use these characters. So Zhao, I think he is in the S tier. I don't know where exactly he fits. He has his new artifact set, of course. Probably above Beidou. Argument can be made that Noelle is a little bit better because she does kind of sometimes do more damage, but with his new artifact set, there is situations where Zhao's pretty good. But you know, Zhao is a really good DPS, obviously one of the best DPS in this S tier character. Argument to be made, he deserves to be in the top 20. I don't agree with that. I see a lot of comments saying that Zhao deserves better and should deserve to be higher in the tier list. But Zhao is kind of those characters where he just has no good supports for them, right? There is not a lot of teams where you can build with Zhao. To build a good Zhao team, you're probably going to need to use some of the best supports in the game. Someone like a Zhongli, someone like a Bennett, someone like a Xingqiu, I guess. Not really Xingqiu, but like building a Zhao team is just very complicated because like there's not like a good support for him. And let's say you use a Bennett for Zhao, the Bennett can be used better for someone like a Raiden, and if you're using a Zhongli, just use a Zhongli for a Hu Tao, right? I just think some of Zhao supports can be used better for other DPS. That's what I think of her. Him, I mean. And the final character, the ninja herself, Kuki. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but that's how I think it said. Kuki, I think she's okay. I'm not that high on her, right? I think maybe if you get higher constellations, she works better. She's a healer. She's an animo, kind of solid. I think she is in the same situation as Sayu, where it's like she's an animo healer, but like how often is these situations can be needed? There's not that many animal DPS in the game. Maybe for someone like a Xiao, a Sucrose, or maybe like a Xiao, I guess. But I just don't see the situation where you need an animal battery, since like Kazuha is really good in the game. But I don't know if you'd want to use her as your support for a Kazuha. I just don't think there's a lot of situations. I think she's A+ tier. She gives that extra, probably right below Chi-Chi, right? She gives the animo, you know, obviously it helps a lot when you're animo. You get a lower elemental res and all that. Viridescent set is such a good set in the game, where if you're an animal character, it's kind of hard for you to be bad because you have one of the best sets in the game. But I just don't think she cracks into the S- tier spot because of her, like, not like that many uses or teams that can work good with her. Because look at all these characters above her. I feel like there's so many teams where you can find a spot where they're really good, but her, I'm just like, I could see her in some team, but I don't know what teams I'd want her ideally in, right? There's a team ideally you don't have Zhongli. Tomo's the best option. Let's say you're building an Arataki Ito team. My Arataki Ito team has a Ning Wang. Yujin. There's obviously a team where Yujin is most needed, which is a Yoimiya team, right? Klee, she's Klee, right? She's a really good damage dealer. Keqing, really good damage dealer. Doi Lawyer, don't know why I forgot her name, but a good damage dealer, arguably could be better than Klee if you get her constellations. Kudrasar, situations, she's a really great character if you get constellations. You can make her work, but a lot of issues with her. Razor, maybe there's an argument where she's better than Razor just because of Razor's a character where not a lot of people use. Kaya, I think, is a little better. So Kuki, I just think there's not a lot of situations where she's going to be the best option on a team. And in that case, that's why I don't have a lot of these characters. Like A+ tier, they're all really solid characters. But they're in a lot of situations, they're not the best option. And if they're not even like that good of a second option, like you'd really have to like make your team suffer to have these characters in the squad. There's a lot of situations where Chongin's like, why would you have Chongin on your squad? Why would you have Kuki on your squad? And Kuki can probably be best utilized in an animal team as a battery and a healer. But someone like Zhao, I don't think I'm really using a Zhao and Kuki squad when I can have a Sucrose. Or let's say I'm using Kazuha. I don't know if I'd really want a Kuki on the squad when I can have someone like a Jean, right? Jean is obviously the superior option than Kuki, but that's just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Kuki. I'm not high on her. Maybe you guys are more high on her. And let me know what you think of my order of this tier list. I know I'm going to get a lot of controversy for where I rank these characters. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for the Zhao, for the Noelle, maybe for the Albedo. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for the Goro and the Klee. Maybe Yaimiko. I have a lot of comments last time talking about how Yaimiko should have been higher. I'm not as high on Yaimiko as a lot of other people are. I think her cooldown issues is just too big of an issue for me. But that'll be all for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I think it's 4th of July when I'm uploading this. So, what's it called? Happy 4th of July, and see you guys next time. Peace.